Welcome in Wednesday edition. Blue Sky Live here with you this morning. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio, college football, NFL, whatever else we decide to discuss as the day moves on, moving towards Saturday, 6:15 p.m. Georgia Southern and Ole Miss from Baldwin Way Stadium.
6:45.
6:45.
I wish it were 6:15.
I wrote that wrong this morning. Then that's fine.
6:45.
I'll go back. I'll change it. It'll be all right. I think it'll be okay. We'll get there. Anyway, all right. Blue Sky Live with you today. Blue skies all over Mississippi, up and down I-55. They're out North Mississippi as well. They've got Sweet Daddy's locations all across the state. Take advantage of those. I've got softball tonight. Maybe you have softball tonight, soccer, all kind of stuff going on. So let Sweet Daddies and Blue Sky help you out. They take care of dinner. Call ahead. They'll even wrap it up, have it ready to go, make it as fast as possible for you when you're coming into town this weekend. Stop in, fuel up, check out the convenience store, and more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
Indeed, Clark Ford in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, of course. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900 again is the number. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
I'm seeing today, I think this hit the board, and I don't know. I was looking at your mailbag where you were discussing teams and schedule and difficulty remaining. And, early before the year started, Ole Miss with the whole FPI thing, they were ranked like 16th. They were lower in that index than a lot of things. Moved up now where they are getting fairly considerable chances of potentially winning out, win 11 games, all that stuff. It sort of reversed in 3 weeks as Georgia has struggled a little more. It doesn't look the same in some different ways. Texas, obviously, where they are. Tennessee, obviously, where they are too. But I was noticing a second ago, now ESPN FPI predicting Ole Miss to win 10.6 games this season. So it's jumped from like 9.4-ish to like 10.6 on an overall note. So again, does that mean anything? Not really, but I found it interesting.
It just means computers are adjusting to what data they've gotten. Ole Miss's data is
good.
Is insane.
I mean, 168 to 9.
Yeah. Now the teams that they've played there's a lot there. We'll see. I mean, the great news is they're going to play 8 SEC games. So we'll find out when they play SEC opponents. I'm not one that goes, oh, we've learned nothing about them in 3 games. And I'm also on the other side not going to be one that goes, oh, my God, we know everything, because we don't. When you've played Furman, Middle Tennessee, and Wake Forest, I mean, you've played the very soft underbelly of your schedule. There will be a test somewhere.
Several. Yes, that is true. Currently giving Ole Miss a 69.4% chance of making the playoff. And it's back to what you were talking about yesterday is 4, 5, 6. Again, I don't know what the mechanics of this thing is going to look like at the end of the year unless there are just no upsets and everybody wins 10, 11 games, and that is what it is, and they try to figure out how to get them all in. But you're talking about from a computer thing after 3 weeks, so theoretically after a quarter of the season, 69.4% is the 6th best SEC percentage to make the playoff. And it factors in remaining schedule. It factors in all that kind of stuff as it's coming up with that. Texas, Alabama. Sorry, the 6th overall, the 5th in the SEC. Texas, number 1. Alabama, number 2, which is interesting. Ohio State, 3. Tennessee, 4. Georgia, 5. Ole Miss, 6 from a percentage of making standpoint.
Well, it's kind of like what Gabe says, which is if none of the following teams pull off an upset of the top 6 teams, which is South Carolina, Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Florida, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. If none of them pull off an upset, the SEC is getting 6 bids.
Yeah. which that's a hell of a statement, obviously. But
I mean, it is, yeah. I mean, there's lots of opportunities for upsets. But
because somebody's going to get somebody.
the people that act like there's no way the league gets 6, I think they're wrong. I mean, now, Gabe and I were having this conversation yesterday.
That requires the Big Ten to only get 3.
Not necessarily. They could get 4. Notre Dame doesn't get in. You get a group of 5, 1 ACC, 1 Big 12.
No, and a group of 5, Big 12, ACC. That's
what I said. 1
3.
ACC, 1 Big 12.
6, 4 is 10.
Oh, yeah. Well, they get 3. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's certainly possible.
Notre Dame actually still sitting 7th on the list, even though I don't buy it. I don't think they can find a way to 10 wins.
Even if they win 10 games,
it's Notre Dame.
Lost to Northern Illinois.
I get it. Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's still people picking teams.
I realize we're podcasting and it's early, but this is it's so incredibly premature that it's just their loss to Northern Illinois is going to be a killer.
It will. Well, I think they're losing 2 more times.
Yeah, I haven't watched them other than the little bit against Texas A&M, so I don't know. But
they're running Leonard too much. He's kind of banged up already. Not kind of. He is banged up already. It's a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, playoff percent chances. Texas, 91.4%. Alabama, 84%. Ohio State, 78.4%. Tennessee, 72.1%. Georgia, 70%. Ole Miss, 69%. And then the precipitous fall off to Notre Dame at 38%. They are actually still sitting, like I said, at 7th, but it falls all the way down to that at that point. So it's Miami, Penn State, Missouri. Missouri feels too low, and I get it's computers, so I mean it's not like it's rigged, but 47% there on the playoff for Missouri.
Yeah, and if they win at Texas A&M, I don't see how they get to 3 losses, and so you're talking about a 10-2 or better SEC team getting left out, and I don't see it. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know how the committee will work. It's the first time they've ever done 12 teams. I don't know what their MO will be, what their strategy will be, how politically correct they're going to be, how much they're going to want to grow the game and regionalize the game and all of I don't know. So we'll see.
Because their schedule from an SEC standpoint is even easier than Ole Miss's. I mean, you're talking about Alabama and Oklahoma and A&M, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at home. Arkansas's at home.
Mm-hmm.
At State, at South Carolina, so even. But you want to catch South Carolina either with Sellers injured or as late in the season as possible at this point.
But if you punish Missouri because their league schedule was bad, well, they didn't make their league schedule. And they played Boston College. I mean, they did at least roll the dice a little.
Accidentally, but yes.
Yeah, but played them.
Yeah. I'm just saying they scheduled that 10 years ago when it was.
But they played them. I mean, that's the thing. They did play them. I mean, that's why it's going to be interesting just to see the politics of it all. Well, they didn't know when they scheduled them that they'd be good. Well,
no, I'm not saying that's going to get at them. Their issue strictly is what you mentioned with the no upsets is that you run the risk of somebody getting left out at 10-2, 11-1 simply because they were ranked lower to start with. Because you're just picking and choosing and grabbing and.
At which point, people like me who've been saying 12 made less sense than 16 are going to be right. 16 always made sense. Play 8 first-round games. It's what Division I AA does, or whatever we call it, and
you
works.
have more right to do that now that they're getting paid. Beforehand, you're like, oh my good God, but it's a different.
Well, now you literally have a division that pays and a division that doesn't pay. Literally, I mean, it's frankly where some of the schools that are not paying should consider like a different. Just because it's always been one way doesn't mean it should stay that way. They should, like, not to pick on Wake Forest again, but Wake Forest should actively consider, hey, you know what? Maybe we should play in a lower level. You're not paying the players. It's a 30,000-seat stadium. Very similar, frankly, to the one in Ruston. Don't pay the players. Play games and let it be. Have a league, have a division that pays players and a division that doesn't. And yeah, the division that pays players, the players are professionals, so they can play one more game. Or they can opt out. I mean, it's up to them and then not get paid.
You need the money from the league, is why.
Sure.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you saw yesterday.
But
now
I mean, it's a league that's not going to exist in a maximum of 10 years. So if you're Wake Forest, you have to start, I think, long-term thinking, hey, maybe we don't do this way. I don't think the answer for them is let's figure out a way to compete with that. I don't think that's a reasonable conclusion based on what I've seen and talking to people there. They're not going to come up with a $20 million football payroll.
Now, the devil's advocate is they've never competed, period, anyway, outside of 2 years. So it's
sure, but there was a difference in this environment. They're not going to compete.
Oh, you're just trying to figure out, hey, we're going to get our head beat in, but do you want to play do you want to see the better teams in your stadium, or do you not? What do you want? Like, you know what I mean? You're asking the fan base, hey, what do you want this to look like? Here are your choices. They both are kind of crappy, but
yeah,
pick one. This is the deal. Because, I just, I don't know what a Wake Middle Tennessee conference game looks like. Like, that fan base is already sort of.
Who do they play this week? Louisiana Lafayette?
That's correct, yes.
I mean, it looked like that. 15, 16, 17,000 people.
Yeah.
It'll look like what Louisiana Tech games look like today.
And
as opposed to when I was a kid. When I was a kid and Tech played in 1AA and they played in the Southland, they consistently get 21, 22,000 at a game. Now Tech plays in, Conference USA, and they get like 4,000 people. The games are complete jokes. I mean, sometimes you get above your pay grade and you get exposed. It's not what it's supposed to be anymore. In my opinion. It's not a popular opinion, but it's one that I observed. I mean, I was there Saturday night. Ole Miss and Wake Forest are not even playing the same sport.
No. You surprised they haven't come out and defended themselves on this money thing at all?
No. They made a decision. And
like I saw Connor O'Neill, the rival site, kind of really took them to task for not leaking it last week when it happened and letting it be a thing. And still they haven't said a word to anybody.
I mean, like I said, I think two things can be true at once. I think Ole Miss can be justified in being pissed off. And I think Wake Forest can be justified in going, this is stupid. There's a clause in the contract that lets us out of it. Here's your money. We're out. I kind of get both. That pisses people off. People want you to take one side and everything be polarized, 1 or 100. I'm kind of in the 50s. I get completely why Ole Miss is irritated, 1,000%. I also, after watching what I watched Saturday night, totally understand why Wake would look at that and go, this is pointless. They could even play the, why are we endangering our players to this degree?
I think I kind of agree there, too. I think Wake's a school that considers themselves in the stream I'm reading enough of a basketball program to almost kind of go, we're just going to work on that. And we're not punting football, but we get where our place is inside the sport. It is what it is at this point.
Well, they're in a part of the country that's basketball obsessed. They're within 2 hours of Duke, North Carolina.
So we're just going to do this, and by doing this.
Yeah. I mean, they have a proud basketball history. Tim Duncan, Chris Paul. Sure. I completely get it. They fill up their basketball arena pretty routinely. I don't blame them. And again, I'm not saying what they did was right or whatever. It was legal.
Oh, completely legal. Yeah. I mean, there is a contract for a reason, and you did that with the contract.
You exercised an out clause that was there. And again, 1,000,000% understand why Ole Miss is pissed off about it. Completely get it.
I was just curious here. Run through this quickly. ESPN FPI, they're giving Ole Miss a 90.6% chance of beating Kentucky next weekend. That feels high, but a lot. Ole Miss is going to win the game.
Yeah.
Let's see. They are giving Ole Miss a 81.7% chance of beating South Carolina and Columbia the next weekend.
87.
81.7. So 4 out of 5.
Sure.
They're giving Ole Miss a 73.5% chance of beating LSU in Baton Rouge.
3 out of 4. Mm-hmm.
They're giving Ole Miss an 80.9% chance of beating Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's about right. 4 out of 5.
They're giving Ole Miss an 80.6% chance of beating Arkansas in Fayetteville.
That's about right. Played it. If you played that game 5 times, Ole Miss would win it 4 times, maybe 5.
They're giving Ole Miss a 53.5% chance of beating Georgia in Oxford.
Based on what I've seen and heard, sure.
Again, it's computers. That's all it is.
Flip a coin. Yeah.
Yeah. They're giving Ole Miss an 88.9% chance of winning in Gainesville at this point.
Yeah, that's about right. If they played 10 times, Florida might pull that off once.
Yeah. And then they are giving Ole Miss a 94.4% chance of beating State.
Yeah, that's about right. You leave the rivalry thing in as a possibility, and by the time, I mean, there could be injuries by the time that game rolls around, but today, yeah, sure. It's about right.
So statistically,
I mean, 4 out of 5 at South Carolina. If Ole Miss and South Carolina played 5 times in Columbia at night, could Carolina conceivably win one of those 5 games? Sure. Would you bet on Ole Miss to win and just forget point spread? Absolutely. I mean, if Ole Miss and Georgia played today and you weren't worried about betting lines, forget point spreads. Just ignore them.
Yeah, sure.
Who would you say, I think that's the team that will score the most points and win the game? It's pretty close. I'd like to watch Ole Miss play a game or two before
that's the biggest thing is there's just nobody that's –
I mean, Georgia's played Clemson. Georgia's played Kentucky.
Yeah.
They've played games against teams that are at least competing in the same
And we're
league.
still in very small sample sizes where a offensive listlessness against Kentucky factors a lot into your metrics because it's one of 6 halves you've played at this point.
I go back to my conversation with Mike Griffith, who is just emphatic about his opinion that this is not as good of a Georgia team as Georgia thinks it is, and now they have some pretty critical injuries. Who knows what Beck's situation was? I mean, I look back on last season when Jackson Dart got hurt. As gritty as he was and as well as he played, he was nowhere near the quarterback that he's been the first 3 games of this season, in large part because he simply wasn't healthy. Beck's not healthy right now. And if you're having to shoot the shoulder up every week and he can't really practice and you're just getting him to game day, I mean, he's gritty and he's talented and he's a good quarterback. But if he's playing with a injured shoulder, that's handicaps him. He's not going to play as well as he would with a healthy shoulder.
Right.
And then I don't know that they're as good up front. They've had some injuries up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And we talked about this earlier in the week. When you lose the amount of talent that they've lost over 2 years to the NFL, it's just bound to be a fall off somewhere. Georgia's got to go 2 Alabama, 2 Texas, and 2 Ole Miss. They got to win one of those 3 games.
And they got to play Tennessee.
They got to play Tennessee, who looks like –
that's what I was literally just pulling up is the matchup predictor is still giving Georgia a 54% chance of beating Tennessee in Athens later in the year.
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if those 2 teams played 100 times in Athens at that spot, it'd be in the 50s one way or the other, right? Isn't that what you'd expect?
Yeah, it is.
One team would win a little more than half of the games. Tennessee would certainly win some of those 100.
Giving Texas a 70.6% chance of beating Georgia in 3 weeks.
I mean, so far, Texas looks like a better team.
And then in 2 weeks, Alabama.
I mean, all jokes aside.
67% Alabama in that game.
Yeah. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, I'm actually going to write about this in 10 Thoughts. Like, this is you don't. It doesn't matter who fans cheer for. It's completely immaterial. I get it, but like if you're watching these games, like who should I be cheering for next week? You should be cheering for Georgia. You want Georgia to beat Alabama because you want Georgia to be as good as possible. Because in the event that you lose to them, you want that loss to be.
What, especially a game like that where you get to give somebody a loss and try to get somebody the hell out of there too. Like because at some point you got to start picking teams off.
Yeah, but you want.
I mean, that's been the good part. The good part of LSU looking like they are is you look at it and go, "Hey, you're probably going to win." But in addition to that, we can kind of probably go ahead and put an X on them from a playoff standpoint. So it's one fewer competitor that you're dealing with at the same time.
I think it's pretty clear there's 6 teams in the league that have a shot at a playoff. I think it's pretty obvious the other ones are too flawed to get to that place. But good enough in some spots to pull off an upset. You know, I mean, the 80% thing, it's about right, you know. 80% means 4 out of 5 times you'd win. But 1 out of those 5 times that team could rise up and get you. You wouldn't want to do that with a one bullet in a 5-gun chamber.
Yeah.
You'd be nervous as hell spinning it.
Yeah, because what it kind of means is, hey, twice you're probably going to kind of get them early and blow them out. And a couple times you're just going to win games, and one time they're going to get in the fourth quarter and get you.
Happens every week.
Yeah. So you're just trying to avoid that statistical spot at that point.
But I mean, I think so far the 3 best teams in the league, in no particular order, I think 2 teams have sort of, one is certainly proven it. Texas went to Michigan and just beat the shit out of Michigan, and that
matters.
It was pretty obvious. Tennessee's question is NC State any good? If they're decent, then Tennessee is what I think Tennessee is. And then for Ole Miss, it's just the one question that we've said a few times: they just haven't played anybody yet. I mean, they played Georgia Southern Saturday night, and that's probably the best team that they've played so far. And that it's not exactly a rousing endorsement, but I think we know what we see. And soon enough, the games will get played. I mean, over the next 24, 25 days, they're going to play Kentucky at home and 2 SEC road games at South Carolina, at LSU. And if they do what I think they're going to do in those games, which is win them all, they'll come out of the – they'll go into their open date. We won't be having to have that part of the conversation anymore. But it's fair now when outsiders go, well, I think Ole Miss is good, but they haven't played anybody. They really haven't proven it yet. I think that's a fair assessment. At this point on September the 18th, I don't think that's being overly negative.
Yeah.
They just haven't played anybody. I mean, the point someone would make is like pick one of the bad SEC teams, Florida, Arkansas. If Arkansas's schedule so far or Florida's schedule so far had been Furman at home, Middle Tennessee at home, at Wake Forest, they'd probably be undefeated.
Yeah, and you'd be going, well, maybe.
Probably not. Because they wouldn't have done it.
I don't mean playoff, but like you go, they're
sure.
Here's the path to 7. Here's the path to whatever that is.
1,000,000%.
If that is. So, all right, continue in a second. First, if you had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, you've had those. But if you had them covered in sauce, Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love, turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm. Or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only a Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
We'll have a hand raise, guys, tomorrow evening. It's brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Memphis, Hernando, South Haven, that area, call Southern 662-429-4429. I'll have a post-game column Saturday night. It's brought to you by Window Hero. Window cleaning, pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, everything in between. Window Hero has the expertise, experience, and equipment to make your property look and feel brand new. Now's the time to be checking out your gutters, getting them cleaned out, getting the guards on as the leaves are about to fall. If you have a second property here in the Oxford area and you just come up for football games and whatnot, and you get here and you find that you're sort of behind on that, holler at the people at Window Hero. They'll take care of you. Get your second property up to standards and looking good. 662-510-7077 or windowhero.com. The sock sale is still going on at Dead Soxy. It goes until Saturday because Ole Miss scored 40 points at Wake Forest. You get 40% off your order at Dead Soxy, deadsoxy.com. The best socks you will put on your feet. They've got NIL socks, socks of all colors and styles. The no-shows that actually work as opposed to a lot of no-shows that roll down your foot. These work, so check them out at deadsoxy.com. Promo code Rebel Grove, and you get 40% off your order through Saturday. Ole Miss grads Hunter and Mimi Simpson formed Southern Q Sauce Craft Barbecue Sauce. Had a Tuesday report presented by Southern Q Sauce where my buddy Gabe DeArmond gave the scenario for how 6 SEC teams would make the playoff. You got to check that out. And while you're doing it, check out Southern Q Sauce. It's crafted by hand in small batches to capture that tangy, sweet, and smoky taste with just enough heat. They also have a multitude of rubs: Old Faithful, Old Smoky, Honey Pecan, the Clucker, the Longhorn. Whether you're a professional pitmaster or an occasional backyard chef, Southern Q Sauce has the sauces and rubs to have your friends and family coming back for more. So check it out for yourself at southernqsauce.com. Use the discount code Rebel Grove for 15% off your order. We'll have a MPW Digital Extra for you tomorrow, kicking off our day of programming at MPW. It's brought to you by Rustic Revivals. They're based out of Flowood, Mississippi. Rustic Revivals builds tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. The husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce specialize in custom-ordered tables, beds, dressers, coffee tables, bookshelves, decorative cabinets, chairs, and more. They also have a limited selection of ready-for-pickup pieces available in the shop. Rustic Revivals delivers within 250 miles of Flowood. All pieces are sealed for protection. Get 10% off when you use the code REBELS10 when you go to rusticrevivalsms.com. You can also order directly by calling 228-217-1243 or email them at rusticrevivals@gmail.com. And if you're retiring soon, maybe you're trying to decide what to do about Social Security, maybe you're figuring out about your Roth conversions, these are some of the questions that can only be answered with the personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Sego Wealth Management, specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, you can schedule a free discovery meeting and see what Andrew and the people can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area and offer medicine. For your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery. You have everything you need when you need it from G&M. Again, they also transfer those medications one phone call. They take care of the rest. So whether that's Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford, that's 662-236-2222. The one team, you mentioned this Tennessee-Oklahoma game, and we'll obviously talk about it a good bit tomorrow. I think 7.5 was the line on that. It's where it closed for us. I don't know where it's sitting as of right now. But Oklahoma's schedule, in hindsight, I think it's probably tougher than Florida's overall. It's just not backloaded the way that Florida's is. So we keep talking about it because Florida had Florida State, and we did that whole 5 games in a row in the season. But Mississippi State, Oklahoma, and Florida all have tremendously difficult schedules when you look at that. And Oklahoma, I mean, the league did them no favors. Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, South Carolina, Bama, LSU.
It's tough.
That might be worse. I get they don't play Georgia, but that might be worse than Florida.
Maybe it was punishment for Oklahoma trying to drag Oklahoma State with them last time.
Hey, we'll show you.
I don't know.
Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, State, Georgia, A&M, Kentucky, LSU is Florida's. Again, not put in the order.
That's tough.
And then State, God help them, Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Florida, Georgia, A&M, Arkansas.
I mean, State's problem is when you're as bad as they are.
You can't play yourself, so everyone you play.
Better than you.
Yeah, it's. You gonna lay it with Florida this weekend?
I don't know.
Thinking about taking the Bullies?
No, I mean, I just hadn't really thought about it yet. But I mean, Florida's a better team. But they're so completely destroyed from the inside. I don't know what State's situation is. I mean, it's still a first-year coach, and I don't know how they respond to getting pummeled by a MAC team. I don't know what was the week like. What's the locker room like? I don't. It would be nice to have a feel for those things if you were actually betting real money on it. I'm fortunately not betting real money on it, so it doesn't particularly matter. I will probably take Florida and lay the points, but I don't feel good about it. What's it, 6? I mean,
5.5 is where we had it.
The smart bet probably is just to take Mississippi State in the points.
I did that a couple times. Just took points and went, you know what? It is what it is. Just see what happens with the points and try to avoid the blowouts. Is it? kind of going back on yesterday's thing one more time because it was a quote I did not see, so I want to do that. Is it problematic for Juracek? I mean, Sterner goes after him yesterday. Clint, obviously the former quarterback at Arkansas. I mean, I'm from 10,000 feet in the sky here, but is there some self protection in this? I mean, like, what is kind of his situation? I get he hired Cal, so I get the basketball thing is what it is. But is there heat here
Well,
for
I
him?
mean, I think if Scott Strickland leaves Florida, he's a leading candidate for the Florida
Oh.
job. I mean, if Florida makes a move, Juracek's on their short list. He's a highly thought of athletics director nationally.
So what set off Sterner was a different quote that nobody even really talked about yesterday. Everybody was doing the Ole Miss thing instead of the quote, and this is how he led. And I do find this odd, I guess would be because you're trying to. Well, it's a fine line. You know, Lane goes after Ole Miss people sometimes, but in a way to almost force them into something. So maybe that's what Juracek is doing in a way. And maybe it's just honest, but it's not good PR at the same time. And a lot of times those aren't the same thing, and you're trying to figure out which direction to go in when you're leading people. But his quote, he says, "It's been terrible. It's been awful in college athletics. We are our own worst enemy, and we find the loophole to every single rule in the rule book. And we found a loophole where we created these things called collectives. And collectives are donors pooling their resources together to pay student athletes. Collectives under the auspices of doing work, charitable work, whether that was tweeting about a charitable organization or signing autographs or making public appearances. But the amounts of money that were getting paid were simply ridiculous and are still ridiculous, and they continue to be ridiculous. Because when businesses are making decisions, you make good business decisions, right? And if you're going to hire a student athlete to market your business, you're going to pay them market value. Well, collectives aren't paying market value. They're just buying teams. And so that figure has grown to just a ridiculous number, and athletic directors are charged many times with going out and raising those dollars through various means. It's not that he's incorrect.
He's
It's
right.
that, but you start with that and then go, now please give me $100 a month. Like it's a really weird juxtaposition there from Juracek in that meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know me, you've known me a long time. I'm kind of a literalist. I mean, he's not wrong. It's not. I don't know why we even call it NIL. Why do we still do that?
But it's not the way to rally people either.
Well, you're not gonna look. You're not gonna get a lot of people to go, oh yeah, honey. I mean, I know there's a debate on our board about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, I don't think you're going to get a lot of people in the state of Arkansas to go, yeah, you know what? Times are tight. Times might get real tight here in about 6 weeks. Yeah, let's commit $100 a month to buying some players. I just don't know that that's a realistic objective.
Well, I don't think it's a realistic objective. I guess my point is more, what do you think his purpose was in the meeting?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it contradicts each other. So what? I mean, he's a smart guy. I mean, that's what we're saying.
Sure.
He's really, really, really bright. So when he starts going down this road, what's he trying to do?
He might be too bright. Or he's just being honest. He might be too honest. But he's clearly someone who has been in collegiate athletics most of his life.
He's clearly frustrated.
I mean, I don't even know that it's frustration as much as he thinks it's insane. That this is not what NIL doesn't even exist anymore. It's just salaries. You put money together, and the schools figure out how much a player's worth. It's not how it was sold in 2020. It was, hey, you know, if you're the quarterback at Alabama and all the little boys in the stadium are wearing the same number 5, they're wearing that number for a reason, and you should get compensated for it. If your person is playing on the EA Sports game, but I can't think of the name of it, I'm sorry. Then you should get paid for it because it's that player on the little screen looks a hell of a lot like you.
Yeah.
If you're sponsored by Clark Ford and you say, hey, I drive a Clark Ford, you should drive a Clark Ford too. Clark Ford's awesome. You should get paid for that. That's what it was proposed as, and that's not what it is. There's a lot of players that are getting paid who are not doing any NIL. They're not doing any. And I know the argument is, well, we put it under the auspices of, well, if you wanted them, you could get them. We have their rights where we can negotiate it for you. I get it. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
But, you know, I mean, he's probably dealing with, I mean, clearly is dealing with the fan base that for whatever reason or reasons, some of it is the state that they're in. Some of it is just an attitudinal thing.
Losing.
Maybe it's losing. I don't know. I mean, I know people do the Arkansas thing with me. I have 2 daughters, one that graduated there and one that's there. We don't talk about Arkansas sports. So I don't know. And their friends, we don't talk about Arkansas sports. Like once a year, I'll go up for the dad's weekend thing, and I might run into a couple of dads who are boosters who might have a short conversation about it. But for the most part, that's not something. So I don't really know the dynamics of what's going on at Arkansas, or whether if they hired a big-time football coach that people got excited about, would people suddenly dig into their pockets and give the asking price that he asked for this past week? I don't know.
Yeah, my antenna went up this morning just simply because I would assume, without going through it a lot more on top of my head, Sterner might be the most visible former player there is for them. I mean, he's in media somewhat. Like that's I assume his Q rating is high, I guess is my point with this. So him going after Yurichek, I have no idea. I can read his Twitter bio in a second. But like his response was he listed 4 things. And he said, number 1, it's absolutely a Yurichek and Pittman problem. Number 2, the business decision in the NIL world is paying the right players. Number 3, it is what it is. You don't have to like it, but you have to embrace it. And 4, going to be hard to get by at any level when you lead with how awful it is.
I mean,
so that was
most of that's probably fair.
Radio and TV host, analyst, currently on Sports Radio 610, Hogs Plus, in the Field of 12, Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with those entities, but
I don't know him. If I've met him, I don't recall it.
But he appears to be fairly prominent still inside their fan base to whatever extent.
I mean, who is their prominent media? Bo Mattingly. He went in-house.
Oh, was he in-house?
Yeah. He does like Hogs, what do they call it? Hogs Plus. It's an in-house deal.
I don't even know.
They have like
I think Neighbors has a pretty good following.
They have like the cool cameras and all that stuff.
Okay. I mean, I think Neighbors has a good following.
Does he? I don't know.
I think, yeah. That's not. I don't really know why. They're just sort of, from a media standpoint, out of sight, out of mind. I don't pick up a lot of their stuff the way I do other places.
Biddy's built a huge site. Trey has.
Yeah.
But I haven't paid attention to whether Trey's been critical or I don't know.
Well, that's a pretty fine line there. Yeah.
I only have a certain number of hours in my day. I don't know. I just don't keep up with their media. I don't know how much this is being discussed or what his comments have generated criticism, or he's gotten conversation, which is at least part of what he wanted. He might not have gotten the conversation that he wanted. I don't know.
Yeah, he feels like he needs basketball season to get here quickly.
Sure.
Needs Cal to get on the floor and start doing that thing and talking and sort of becoming the face. Because some of Yurichek's problem right now is he's become the face. Yeah. Pittman's not the face. Pittman's just this sort of
they probably
lame duck thing.
They probably should have moved on from Pittman last year. Probably stayed too long. And so you create almost a lame duck season.
Yeah, you create a season where you don't even feel like you're building if you win a few games, even though you got Bobby there. You know what I mean? Like it.
Well, man, I don't think Pittman will be there next year, even if they were to win out. I don't think he'll be there. Obviously, they're not going to win out, but you understand my point.
I know what you mean. But you don't think they hire Pacherno?
No, absolutely not. Be shocked.
Oh, I think I would too.
No, it'd be just based on conversations I've had with people just about coaching searches in general. I would be absolutely floored. Almost a 0% chance.
Still quick.
I think there's a world where he stays as their offensive coordinator. I think that's probably what he would prefer to do, from what I've heard. I mean, Bobby Petrino's not 20 anymore. He's calm. I mean, obviously had some things happen in his life that paint a picture for him, but everything that I've heard is that's kind of not who he is anymore.
Oh, I'm kind of rooting for him personally. Yeah.
People change sometimes as they get older. We're covering someone who fits that description. No, I mean, I think if you put betting odds on who's their coach next year, I'd probably bet on Barry Odom today, with
Yeah,
Petrino staying as an offensive coordinator.
because Odom's done a great job at UNLV.
Yeah, well, they've got a shot to be the Group of Five rep, where he would not be the next coach because he wouldn't be able to wait. It's the part of the Kiffin Drinkwitz to Florida thing that nobody ever talks about because
It's Memphis's if they win out,
I think so. Yeah.
because they'd get a win over Tulane. South Florida's at least in vogue a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you're insisting on giving a Group of Five team a bid and they went out, they probably deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't think they should get one, but if that's going to be the rule, then so be it.
Only 2 weeks into the season. Plenty more to go, but you got, let's see, you got, I think 9 teams are 2-0 in the NFL to this point. Just do a quick, nobody's holding us to this, but whether you think they can represent their conference in the Super Bowl. Okay. So they have to win their league, AFC, NFC.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Kansas City, yes.
Sure.
Buffalo?
Yeah.
They're 2-0. Yeah. Think so. Houston?
No.
Don't think they get to the playoffs.
Do I think they can make the playoffs?
I said you can't. Don't think they can get through the playoffs.
no,
Sorry.
no,
Yeah.
no.
They are tied with the Chiefs for the lowest point differential of all the undefeated teams. Chiefs and Houston both +8, even though they're 2-0. Now the Chiefs have played the Ravens and the Bengals. They've had a very difficult opening slate here. Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't want to say it out loud, but I think so.
Sure.
Saints.
Yeah.
They're fascinating because we knew the defense was pretty good.
They beat the ever-living hell out of the Cowboys in
They
Dallas.
did.
And, I mean, we're all saying Dallas is a playoff team.
Yeah.
And the Saints go to Dallas and win the game by basically 30 points. Yeah, absolutely. Could the Saints, if that's who the Saints are, could the Saints be a team that gets through the NFC? Yes.
Could they find 2 of their next 4 and be 4-2 after Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks?
Sure. Why not?
Kubiak's going to get a ton of credit. I tell you what, and this plays into college. I'm not even doing a Saints thing. You watch Dennis Allen.
I think it's Wednesday. If you want to do a Saints thing, you can.
That's okay.
Ole Miss plays Georgia Southern Saturday.
No, I'm not doing a Saints
thing. They're a 36-point favorite.
My point is that you have so many coaches that try to be something they're not. We talk about this all the time. You know, if early on in Kirby Smart's career, he was trying to be Saban instead of being himself, and you've got this think you're molding into whomever you believe they want you to be. And Dennis Allen, we're only 2 weeks. It kind of feels like he's doing that, but it's working because he's always been sort of milquetoast, bland, kind of had a hard time perceiving message, just kind of there, if you will. And whether it is intentional, whether it's fake, whether it's real, whether it's honest, whatever it is, he's had a bit of edge about him the last 2 weeks. He's had a ton of edge with his players. He sounds different talking to his players. Almost gotten sharp in some ways, kind of talks crap a little bit now. Like he's got a completely different, for lack of words, swagger to him through 2 weeks at any point. And I wonder if you kind of go, well, the other shit wasn't working, so just see what happens.
I don't know how.
And they seem to be responding, though, is my point.
Yeah.
The team seems to actually have sort of embraced it and built on it. And then you've got Carr playing well. He's always been a good guy. He's always been a leader. That's not a problem. You know what you're going to get with Derek Carr.
And he's had stretches in his career where he's played well.
Yeah. I mean, he's played on bad teams, and it just hasn't mattered. So I don't know. Something about them is a great test case because you've got a couple guys that have decided to do something a little different, and you bring in Kubiak to try to put it together, whether it works or it doesn't work moving forward. And I dare say they're kind of fun right now, if nothing else.
They're that, for sure. Well, I mean, I don't know how he spent his offseason. Maybe he went and talked to some people. Maybe he did the whole Clark Lee self-eval and decided to make changes. Who knows? Like I said, I mean, people change. Lane Kiffin changed. We just talked about Petrino. I mean, people learn from mistakes. Some people do. Some people repeat them. Some people learn from them. I don't know. Maybe he did a comprehensive self-eval and decided he was going to do some things differently. I do think when you become a head coach, sometimes it's tempting to try to almost develop a new personality. And maybe he said, no, I'm going to go back to being who I am.
I'm going to be a coordinator who is the head coach. So I'm going to talk like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to be that guy.
maybe so.
No, I do think he tried to be CEO for a couple years, and it was like, hey,
Sure.
I'm going to put the tie on, and I'm going to
Well, it's a
be
different job. I mean, you have a different set of responsibilities, and you deal with media all the time. And a lot of these guys are not very good with media naturally.
Mm-hmm.
They're confrontational, they're gruff. And then suddenly you're dealing with, in NFL markets, you're dealing with professional media who can dish it out pretty well. And before you know it, you're kind of in sort of deep.
And you absolutely are the CEO and the whole deal, and it's
Yeah.
your puppy.
And everything that happens, you answer for it because you're the coach. So maybe he's kind of grown into the job. It's certainly possible. It's possible that it's a combination of that, and he finally figured out an offensive coordinator that could make it work.
Alvin Kamara is also healthy. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, and they averaged 3.9 yards per carry last year without him.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of things. It's never like one thing.
And look, it's easier on your defense when you score points. I know, breaking.
Sure.
Not the stress of, oh, crap, you give up one touchdown and we are screwed.
Well, they had
today.
that third quarter drive last week where they ate 7 minutes off clock. That's 7 minutes your defense gets to chill on the bench and
it is
not get exposed.
Yeah.
So they come out and get a stop, and the next thing you know, the game's over. I mean, that's kind of what they've been able to do. And, yeah, are the Saints better with the healthy Kamara? Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I know the world is running back doesn't matter, but elite running backs are still better than non-elite running backs. I mean, like,
I mean, what Cincinnati would have given last week to have had Joe Mixon probably would have won the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this running back doesn't matter theory.
We're overplaying it a little bit, aren't we?
Well, big time. Big time. Yeah, running back matters. Is it what it used to be? Is it Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith? No. That era of the game has cycled out for at least for now, but it still matters.
It does.
If opposing teams don't have to worry about your running attack at all, as good as DBs are and all that stuff, it's hard to move the football.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to respect the running game, it opens up the passing game. The two things do complement one another. It's just it's a different era than like when I was growing up, and it was Eric Dickerson and Walter Payton and Tony Dorsett and Franco Harris and all those cats where they were getting the ball 30 times a game, and it was, Dorsett left, Dorsett right, Dorsett up the middle.
Yeah.
That era of football doesn't really exist any longer.
Yeah. But Earl Campbell would still carry the rock better than most folks. So it is what
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah. I mean, he was a weapon that made their passing game better because you couldn't go, all right, well, we're not gonna take their running game seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you kind of have to. And that opened up things for Pastorini. And that was a team that was a Super Bowl caliber team that just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah. All right, we'll look at the rest of that list in a second. First, Joss Neal Creamery, jossnealcreamery.com. Tailgate packages available. It is Wednesday, so hurry up and get those. They feed 10, 20, or 40, depending on what you're looking for. Everything from dips, pepper jellies, specialty trays, grazing, charcuterie. It's my favorite. Artisanal cheese trays, sandwich trays, fruit, crudité, be a little healthier, house crackers, desserts, and plenty more. You can pick up at Chicory Markets where they're located now. Stop in, browse. Just take something beyond the tailgating packages. But those are what we're talking about today. And you can pick those up on Friday or Saturday at Chicory. Go straight to the website. Don't even have to talk to anybody. Order them, and it'll be ready for you for your tailgate this weekend. Again, that's JossonHillCreamery.com.
We're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. Paints by Benjamin Moore. Pittsburgh Paints. Farrell Calhoun. Flooring of any and all types. Stone countertops. Whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else, they've got window treatments, plantation shutters. Basically, whatever you're looking for, they've got it at Grenada Home Center. They can also come to you, so get in touch with them at 662-226-3127. Arnett's Fine Jewelry is a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building on North Lamar Avenue here in Oxford. They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, pearls, and a lot more. They offer super gifts for birthdays, graduation, anniversary gifts. If your wife's expecting a baby, Arnett's can help you find that perfect push present. They can also help you find an awesome gift for Christmas at Arnett's. They want to be your jeweler. The College Corner. If you're coming up this weekend, stop at the College Corner right there off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons. More than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear, plenty of parking available. They'll have you in and out, ready for the Grove in no time. You can also check them out online at collegecornerstore.com. Part of MPW Digital Extra is a visit I had with Wonderbird Spirits Rob Forster. I think you'll enjoy listening to that incredible story. He is part of Wonderbird, located on Old Taylor Road between Oxford and Taylor, just minutes from the square. If you are looking for a place to have a party one of these football game weekends, Kentucky coming up, Georgia coming up, Oklahoma coming up, get in touch with the people at Wonderbird. They can accommodate private parties of various sizes. They offer a tasting room, grounds, bathrooms, catering room on site as part of the packages. It's a previous overall winner of Garden and Gun magazine's Made in the South Awards. They own multiple gold medals for their gins. It's wonderbirdspirits.com. Info at wonderbirdspirits.com or call 662-205-0779. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. Not Pinnacle, I'm sorry. It used to be Pinnacle. It's now Argent Wealth. Argent Wealth's 401k advisory services team can conduct complimentary, no obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Argent Wealth on MPW, and you get 10% off your first year's fees. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Get in touch with John if you're trying to make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Give him a budget, give him some options, give him some parameters, and he will come up with some different plans that you'll have a hard time doing on your own. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net.
No watch along for home games as of right now. It works way better for a road game for logistical purposes and frankly audience for you guys, because you're not at the stadium, you're not in the Grove, you're not doing different things, you're just sitting on your couch all watching the road game at the same time. So that's typically the reason for that, but we'll reassess moving forward for South Carolina in a couple weeks. I don't know.
You can go chill about 3 a.m. Sunday morning.
You know, I have a hunch if Georgia Southern is what we think they are, that will not be the case. But I mean, it is possible in like the fourth quarter to start early just because just sitting there. So maybe that's the case. I don't know. We'll alert as time goes. But yeah, because it's going to be 10:15 when the game ends.
Oh, if I'm lucky.
Ish. That's 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's got 4 hours written all over it.
Don't they run the ball? And they give up.
They give up
plenty of runs.
So many points.
I wrote about Henry Parrish this morning, and then the Georgia Southern defense. Let's just say they're quite porous when it comes to run defense. You can have at it a little bit through the Eagles' front.
My hope is that Lane Kiffin decides at some point in the third quarter that he's bored and that the Kentucky game is coming up. He would like
to get on with his night,
and that it's an early Saturday game the next week. And
so let's go ahead.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, your worst nightmare is Lane to come out of halftime and go, we really need to work on the passing game for a minute here and start throwing it around. And
yeah, or Simmons comes in and it's we needed to let him run the offense.
I was like, I don't really need to see Austin run the offense. No offense, Austin.
And then that godforsaken TV timeout guy stands out there and the thing says 7 minutes, 42 seconds.
And Clay Helton might decide he needs to work on some things, and he starts chucking it around.
He might.
I think their quarterback has 6 touchdowns, no picks on the season.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kid for Boise ran for like 9 miles against them. 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I forget his name. I wrote it this morning, but I forget it. The Vikings, can they win the NFC? No. Sam Darnold's a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, Darnold's a real good story. But no, they can't win the NFC.
Los Angeles Chargers
cannot win the NFC.
Can they win the AFC? That you thought about it's interesting. You're going to say no, but that you thought about it's interesting.
Probably not.
They're running more than passing now. Been a culture shift already under Harbaugh. Steelers. No.
Mm,
Damn good defense,
no.
though.
Your folks at Realtree just released the helmet for the Oklahoma game.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't be news to you.
It won't be news to anyone watching our post-game show the last few weeks. The pattern will look very familiar.
Yes.
So that's out right now.
Yeah, it's the pattern on navy blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally the background. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good option for clothes too. I think you guys will be. I've seen some of them. You guys will be happy with the apparel options that come with the shade because you get kind of navy and it works with a lot of stuff. So I think you'll be pleased with that. But yes, I was aware of. I just hate there's not a big M on the side. Frankly, I was ready to watch the world burn.
That would have been interesting.
I told Keith and Tyler I tried. I've been very vocal about that over the course of the.
It would look good.
Time.
It would look good.
Put a red M on the side of it.
In fact, I think the red M would look better on that with that background than the full Ole Miss. It's just one person's opinion. You can.
There were some people that really wanted it, and there were some people that really didn't, and it just a consensus could not be reached. It appears. I think it would look really good at night too. I kind of hate it's a day game. I know they were wanting a night game for that helmet with the whole suit and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
are they wearing dark jerseys?
I do not know the answer to that. My guess is red, but complete guess. Right. That's not something I'm being coy about. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah, I think it's good. I think they did a good job.
Gray pants?
Don't know. I think that is a lane decision. Yeah, sorry, script M is what I meant. I don't know if that's what I said or not, but script M is what I meant.
I think it's what you said.
No, I don't want the block M on anything, including the Ole Miss baseball caps. And I do stir up some old timers with baseball when I say that.
I bet you do.
Oh,
I'm glad that's you.
That's always been the cap. So I get it, but no, I would move to the script M on the baseball caps.
I'm staying out of that.
Doesn't mean you're taking the Ole Miss away. It's not what I'm saying. It's literally the M from the Ole Miss.
I'm staying out of it. I'll let you.
You don't have an opinion
on the Ole Miss baseball cap? Not really.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume it's those helmets, red tops, white pants for Oklahoma. That's what I would guess.
Why not gray pants? Are you against the gray pants?
You asked what I thought. Gave an opinion.
Are you against the gray pants? Are you anti-gray pants? So you're anti-tradition. You just want to take 100 plus.
I want to take the UCLA stripes off the Ole Miss jerseys that are by God tradition. Yeah, no, I don't. Are those Texans weird stripes thing going to trickle down into the college football uniforms? Did you not see that the other night?
I don't know that I did.
Yeah, the Texans are wearing this like weird horizontal shoulder stripe thing.
Oh.
Maybe it's supposed to be a horn. I don't know. Or maybe a bunch of NFL teams are wearing it. I have not noticed it, but I don't know. You're usually my connoisseur on that. So.
Oh, you've got a couple people already on you on the script M thing. See,
I know.
They get mad at you. You're wanting to take a century plus of tradition and just toss it.
Actually, more than a century.
I know. So I said a century plus.
Yeah.
Which means more than a century.
I'm sending you the jersey.
Okay. I mean, we can change the subject and talk about the Texans, but I think it's important that we get to the bottom of this. I mean, next thing you're going to do is you're going to say, look, I grew up in a middle-class family.
I'm just telling you what I would just...
People cared about their lawns. I mean, I don't really like that.
Okay, BWL says I could get down with script M for Realtree only. It's a special helmet. That'd be fine. I get that.
I do think the Texans are horns.
It is a horn, right?
It appears to be a horn.
Okay, so it's synonymous to their uniform only?
That would be my guess. And if you tell me it's a horn, I kind of like it a little better. I wouldn't mind the horn going a little further.
So the story matters here. If it's a horn, you're giving it an extra point or two versus simply that's what the new stripe looks like.
If I'm going to be consistent about my take on Kentucky football uniforms, I've got to give them credit for the horn.
Because you give Kentucky credit for the checkerboard.
Yes, because it's the greatest horse that ever lived. And it's a Kentucky horse. I'm cool with it. When you explained it
Because
to
when I
me,
look at Kentucky's offense, I think Secretariat. That's what I'm contemplating right there when I watch.
maybe that's what they're shooting for. Doesn't mean that you always get it.
That checkerboard has never looked slower on something.
But sometimes Kentucky has immaculate uniforms, and sometimes they absolutely butcher them. But
yeah, that's my whole point, Luke, is the Block M looks like Maryland, looks like Michigan. Nobody knows what it is. Now, whether that matters, I don't know. It's up to you.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But that's my argument.
Yeah.
Is the script M is much more actually synonymous to Ole Miss than the Block M.
Sure.
It's part of your script.
Well, I mean, lots of schools use a Block M. Miami of Ohio, Maryland, Minnesota.
I could get behind the script M on a white helmet. And now Grind has the point that most people do, which is when you think checkerboard, you do think Tennessee because they're end zones.
That's fine. Explaining that Kentucky has a reason to do it also. Indiana could do it. The Indianapolis 500.
Okay. In crimson, though?
Sure. Or you could mix in some white and black on a red uniform, a white uniform, sure.
Kind of look like Maryland. They have that weird thing.
They have the state flag thing that they do.
Yeah. But you know what it is.
Yeah. You see a Maryland uniform, you know what it is.
The jersey will not have any camo, to the best of my knowledge, Doors. Again, there could be a jersey I don't know about. I do not know everything about this. But
you wouldn't want to put a camo jersey out there because then you wouldn't be able to find them.
You wouldn't. That's why Siski and I just look like heads on the screen during the postgame show on Saturday.
I mean, I signed in and I was like, is anybody home?
There's Jeffrey.
There was Jeffrey.
He was eating his hibachi and drinking his wine.
Got his beard going.
Yelling at his new dog.
Yeah, Rocco.
Yeah, he's not a fan. It's been a tumultuous start to the tenure.
Felt like they moved to the new dog awfully quickly.
The new dog has not become part of the family in the same vein to this extent.
Well, it's kind of like being the guy that replaces Saban. You know,
it's going to take a minute.
It's going to take a little while. I'd rather be the dog that replaces the dog that replaced.
That's a good point. Replacing
Carly.
Rocco is much easier than replacing Carly at this point,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
somewhere some dog's like, I'm just waiting my turn. It'll be good. I'll be compared to Rocco.
No, I mean, I get why. I know the Block M works for baseball because that's what they've always worn for baseball. I mean, I get it. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not like going and dying on a hill here. But
no, I mean, listen, you're wanting to absolutely throw away baseball tradition. Years and years of baseball tradition where they wore a Block M. You're wanting to just toss that into the trash. That's what I hear. I mean, I'm listening to you. I'm sitting right here, and what I hear is I hate Ole Miss baseball, and I think they should trash this.
Well, I'm working on a project right now that is looking at the past and the history of Ole Miss baseball. So you're saying the cover art for that should not be a script Ole Miss cap because they do have one. They have one. You can just throw that on the cover now.
What are you going to do next? A book of poetry? I mean, what's next?
Was it Oleander and Bloom? I
don't know. I'm not the one that did it.
I told you. I actually think Steve is very smart for what he's doing, knowing just enough about the book dynamics in those kind of areas. I actually think he's probably making pretty good coin a year doing that.
My God, you do a good job of just avoiding the topic.
I'm telling you, I do. Let's run for office.
You should. I mean, your next comment should literally be, listen, I grew up in a middle-class family.
Don't tell these stories. Tell your story.
Yeah. The people in my neighborhood really cared about their lawns. You hate gray pants. You hate the UCLA stripes. And now you hate the Block M.
I'm very happy about the stripes because Ole Miss took them off there for a little while back in the day. Was that Eli or even like right around there? They were gone on a couple of jerseys.
That was a major bone of contention.
Eli might have been the only thing that could save that era when it comes to that.
The UCLA stripes, but they're your stripes, so they call them somebody else's.
I've told that story. I listened to two people argue about it in the press box, and one guy's, "You can't do that. It's when you see that, you see Ole Miss. You think Ole Miss." Somebody went, "Hold a minute. When you see the what? He goes, the UCLA stripes. He goes, stop, hold,
Yeah.
take a minute.
Take a minute and listen to yourself.
Oh God. Top 3 logos in the SEC. Oh God, I'd almost need to see a. I think I need to see them on something.
Yeah, I've almost got to pull them up here.
The Longhorn,
Yes.
if it counts, because it's brand new. It's number 1.
All right, I got them here.
Are we just doing the football teams?
It's just the schools. The Gator. The Gator's a great logo.
I like the Gator.
It's a great logo.
I like the pig.
Yeah, I think the Razorbacks.
Pig's good.
The Razorbacks way up there. I mean, when you see the orange tee, you know exactly who it is.
Animals do so much, do really well with logos.
But like, I don't like Missouri's logo.
It's awful. Why they left Truman the Tiger? They had the cartoon tiger. That's great.
He's great.
Make him your logo.
Yeah.
And I think they put him on the helmet occasionally, right?
I would like LSU's logo if they took out the words LSU and just let it be the tiger.
Yeah, just the tiger
Mm-hmm.
or the eye.
The eye.
If you just made the eye your logo.
The eye was badass.
Yeah, I like the eye.
Eye of the tiger.
Yes. I think the eye would be my number 2 or 3 if the eye was just their logo. I'm just not big on letter logos.
And like, I don't like the UK intertwined. I prefer this.
Of the
K.
letter logos, I think Auburn does the best job.
Yes. Well, no, I think Tennessee does.
Okay.
Basic.
Yeah, sure.
This is who we are.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're a big orange T, bitches.
Except now there's another big orange T in your conference too.
But they use
that also uses it sometimes.
Yeah, but they use a Longhorn.
They do. It's good.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's good.
I think I go Longhorn, Gator, Razorback.
Is Texas's road uniform now your favorite uniform in the league?
Yeah. Yep.
The white on white on white?
Yep.
Okay. I assumed you were going to say yes.
Yes.
So.
It's amazing. It's everything that's good about uniforms. It is. It's perfect. I mean, it's so good they should wear it at home.
An LSU suit that was white helmet with just the eye on the side with white on white would be really good.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
White tops, white pants, white helmet, and just the eye on the side of the helmet.
Sign me up.
Hey, Scott, get that going.
Be phenomenal. Yeah, it'd be great.
You could wear it with purple tops.
Yeah, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, OU's logo does nothing for me either.
No, it's just fine. It's fine.
I want to like the South Carolina logo, but just can't quite.
It's too much.
You think it's too much?
I know it's too much. These are things I actually care about. That's too much. It's too busy.
No, Texas has the best suite of uniforms across the thing. Like, they're really good.
Yeah, like Carolina would be better if they took the C off and just let it be the Gamecock.
Just be the Gamecock.
Yeah. Or go with the animated Cocky, because he's a great mascot.
He's a great mascot.
Yeah, so let him be the Orioles do the cartoon bird. It's great. And when they went to a real bird, it was like, no, what are you doing? Nobody wants to look at an actual Oriole. Give me the cartoon Oriole.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, hell, the Brewers got rid of the best logo in sports to put some barley on their logo. And
yeah, now they've kind of gone back to it. And subsequently they started winning again. It's not a coincidence.
You think there's something in the universe that allows you to alter that for you?
I mean, I kind of do. But I'm looking at the Longhorn thing. It's
really good.
It's immaculate. Yeah, Texas all whites are spectacular. I don't know how they lose a road game.
They make the burnt orange work. Yeah. It really works uniform-wise because you have to get the right colors to even be in the conversation.
Well, Texas is...
it's why Ole Miss and Texas probably have the best suite of football uniforms because you have colors and you don't screw it up.
Yeah.
You have Nike.
Well, with Texas, when you see that color, you literally see the color and you go, that's Texas.
Yeah.
And that's when you know your brand is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
And their brand is off the charts.
Yeah, sure.
It just is.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hate Texas? Hate Texas. You can't go, their brand sucks. No, it does not. Their brand is.
No wonder A&M's kind of the whip puppy over here.
I mean, their brand is like NFL quality brand. Like you see the Cowboys and you go, oh, that's the Cowboys.
Because A&M can do whatever they want money-wise, and they still aren't Texas.
No.
And it's just fact of life. So it's where they sit.
In a lot of ways, it's like being Auburn.
Yeah. It just is.
Alabama.
Yeah. All right. At the Citizens Bank, you're not just an account number. You're a valued member of the community, and you find yourself in the market for a loan, whether for a new car, mortgage, business, checking, savings account. Here to help you achieve your financial goals. Been telling you all week. Whit Wilson out there in their mortgage department, so let him take care of you locally here in Oxford for all your mortgage needs. That's 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E. And then also ask them about the School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
Remind me to touch on the Kentucky thing again one more time, because someone says it in the thing and they're exactly right. It's the reason why they're not an elite football program.
Oh, okay.
Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. If you're a displaced corporate executive and you want to put your career in your own hands, if you're an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify, Andy Ludicky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, diehard college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses, uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and your career in your own hands. 100% free, you got nothing to lose. MyPerfectFranchise.net. Andy at MyPerfectFranchise.net or 404-973-9901. Got a mailbag up this morning. It's brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, put the power of Sotheby's to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously, so call and ask him how. 612-805-5929 or email Art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. Picks will be up tomorrow morning at rebelgrove.com. They're brought to you by Kaiser Flooring. With location in Batesville and Oxford, Kaiser Flooring provides outstanding quality flooring products and installation services for residential and commercial properties. They carry the best in hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and tile flooring, as well as carpeting. Their goal is to offer amazing and durable flooring products and superior services to make your life easier. To learn more, go to kaiserflooring.com. Pete's Pigskin Preview will be up tomorrow as well. It's brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a full-service investment team based in Jackson, providing financial planning and investment management to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Ryan Geary and his partners are a local team that utilize the strength and resources of a national firm to bring their clients an impeccable level of service. This includes access to investment strategies, portfolio managers, not available to all investors. If you're interested in a no-obligation consultation or you just want to be added to their monthly market email update list, reach out to financial advisor Ryan Geary with Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, 601-368-2215 or ryan.geary@raymondjames.com. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
AnySpark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with friends and family, Spark offers both residential and business packages with speeds up to 2 gigabytes. To learn more or register for service, that's AnySpark.com. Remember, their 100 Mbps is now 300 Mbps for the same price. And again, going all the way up to 2 gigs. So that's AnySpark.com. AnySpark, get connected, stay local. So Kentucky.
Right, so I'm pulling up the Kentucky uniforms. I'm doing it on USA Today. So they played Georgia the other night.
Okay.
They almost win. And they lost because of that uniform. Why would you go gray on gray
when you have blue and white as your colors.
I mean, why? What in the world are you thinking?
Look at what the Colts do and do that.
I mean, I'm looking at this picture of Brock Vandegrift. He's got a blue helmet with the UK interlocking, which is fine. It's a good look, good helmet. And then you've got a gray uniform with blue numerals and everything outlined in white. Gray pants with the white stripe flanked by 2 blue stripes. Why? Who is the person in the room that goes, this is a great idea?
Well, and stop making the checkerboard be on your shoulders. Just make it like the stripe on your pants or your numerals or something.
But on these, like, I know it's there, but you really can't even see it. It's just, it's so bad.
You have white and blue. You were gifted years and decades ago when someone gave you colors, and you have white and blue.
It's like going to a Kansas City Royals game. They wear the white uniform, and you're like, yeah, I get it. 1,000,000%.
They don't come out in black and purple one day and go, you know what? Let me tell you.
No, I mean, they even break out some powder, and it works great. Kentucky could break out some powder blue here and there if they wanted to, but get away from this gray and chrome and
helmets,
black stuff. What are you doing?
Have a blue helmet, have a white helmet.
That's it. You don't need another helmet.
Have a blue jersey and a white jersey.
Yeah.
Then have some alternate with only blue and white in it. It's fine.
Yeah,
blue pants, white pants.
You could mix in some powder blue into some stuff a little bit. They could have, like in baseball, they could have a really good powder blue suit.
They've never done that.
They could.
To my
instead,
knowledge.
they do grays and chromes and black. And like, what are you doing?
Do the Royals have a black jersey? They don't. Do
no. They have a white, a gray, and a powder. It's all you need. Thank you for
attending your TED Talk.
Drives me nuts. I mean, I get it.
So you think you have to give yourself a chance before you give anybody else is going to give you a chance. You have to take yourself seriously. And they're not taking themselves seriously.
Hey, we're playing the number 1 ranked team in the country at our place at night. Let's go all grays. I would have been like, why?
I'm kind of with Epic here. I like the K-State powder purple. I do.
Yeah, but you're K-State, right?
No, I know.
Right? You're
I like
K-State. You get to do kind of different stuff. Like if you are, these are the rules. If you're like Georgia Southern or something, you can try to do anything you want.
You can be as crazy and out there as you feel.
You don't really have a brand, so go for it. I mean, you can swing and miss at those places. It's why they start major league players in the minors. You go 0 for 4 with 4 Ks at single A, no one notices. You go 0 for 4 with 4 Ks at Yankee Stadium, people are talking about it.
What's Lane's tried to force feed Ole Miss kind of being the Southern Oregon with we're going to do something different every week and do all this stuff. And it's all built around recruiting and fun.
And they've done a really good job of it. And when do they wear their more boring uniforms? The more boring games. Smart.
Yeah, you weren't shocked they rolled out red on gray against Middle Tennessee.
No, predictable. I bet they wear something cool when Georgia rolls into town. They're not breaking out the real tree for the Middle Tennessee game.
It's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there's going to be 9 gazillion people in town.
I mean, you don't see LSU going, hey, let's go chrome this week.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Texas goes, hey, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go all gray. Bunch of idiots. What are you doing? So stupid. It really is.
I think a new AD would get shut down on that if he was Texas. He went, hey, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, someone would like throw something at him with, why? Why in God's name would you ever mess with that?
I hated the Bears orange uniforms the other day.
I don't like them.
When I first turned it on, I actually thought they were the Texans because I thought my TV was showing the red differently. And I was like, oh, no, that's Caleb Williams. That's the Bears.
You're the Bears. You have
a good suit.
You wear the same suit that Walter Payton wore.
Yeah, wear that one.
That's the suit. White pants, navy top. White pants, white top. You don't even need I guess you can go with, I don't even like the navy pants. Just go white on white.
I mean, there is a chance they go navy, red, gray for LSU because it's the whole traditional thing.
They're
possible.
I bet they don't.
You bet they go powder?
Oh, I bet you all the money in the world.
Think they go powder?
They go powder white.
Powder white?
I'd bet money on it.
Even on a road game?
That's what they did the last time they went down there.
Yeah.
2 times they've been down there. Yeah, he's no.
He's not going to try to replicate the picture from whatever year you would like to choose.
Absolutely not. Be stunned.
Yeah. Powder red white. That's a good suit. No, powder red white's a good suit.
No, I bet they go powder white.
And they'll wear powder to some
Lane
extent.
likes. I think if you go back, every time that a Lane Kiffin Ole Miss team has played LSU, they've worn a powder jersey.
I think you're right.
So I know where I'd bet. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, I haven't asked. That'd be a throw him off question on Monday. Hey, Lane, I know you're about to play Kentucky, but have you put any thought into which jersey you're going to wear in Baton Rouge?
He might laugh.
He might laugh. We have a bet going. I'm curious.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and end this now? Just
kill the suspense today?
Yeah.
That might actually make him speechless.
Apparently in 22, they did white helmets and red jerseys.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I don't remember that. Oh, they got popped down there. Jackson kind of got banged up, got hit late. They were trying to kind of run the score back, like get back in it from a respectability standpoint.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did not remember the uniform. I do remember the game.
But it was to the point, though. It was not a traditional setup.
They were undefeated. They went into that game like ranked 4th.
It wasn't 4th because they haven't been as high as 4 since whatever. But yeah, high, whatever it was.
Yeah, and then they got kind of popped in the second half, and they kept the starters in, and I do remember that. I remember the game. I do not remember the uniform, so I stand corrected.
All good. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose. I'll lose sleep over certain things. I won't lose sleep over that one.
Viewers Guide wide, have you looked at last name? You looked at pick? Like, is Saturday an interesting day to you at all? Is there games that are striking your fancy?
I mean, there's a couple of games that aren't particularly important, but are kind of interesting.
I want to see USC Michigan for some reason on Saturday.
Isn't that wild? That should interest me, and it really doesn't. I'm interested in Florida, Mississippi State, just because there's just a lot there.
Arkansas, Auburn.
I'm interested in Arkansas, Auburn, because I think for Auburn it's a really big game. Like I think for Hugh Freeze it's a really big game. Because if they lose to Arkansas, having already lost to Cal, and now they've done the quarterback thing, and he can't. Hey, it's all Peyton Thorne's fault. It's weird there. And then Tennessee, Oklahoma. I mean, that's a fascinating game on so many levels. Heupel going back, Oklahoma's first SEC game. Tennessee looking like world beaters. Nico's first road game against a legitimate defense in a legitimate environment. There's a lot there. That's a
good game.
I mean, if I'm honest, that's the game I'm a little pissed off that I kind of won't be able to actually watch, and I'll be presumably watching a blowout.
You get to watch ULM Texas too. Now at night, you can turn on your computer.
Oh, that's a big game.
Can they stay within 45? I mean, that's the question.
It just depends on what Texas wants to do. Who does Texas have next week? At State?
I think that is right. Utah Oklahoma State is Saturday too. If you have any Big 12 druthers,
yeah,
I don't. But if you did,
that's where Gabe and I were having that conversation. His people were. He was sort of scolding his people the way I sort of scolded Ole Miss people. I'm like, you cheered for the wrong side in that one.
Mm-hmm.
You looking back, everybody would have been better off with Arkansas holding on and pulling that off.
Yeah, go ahead, get that. Yeah,
make that a one-bid league.
Yeah, that's the catch.
And for both Ole Miss and Missouri, two teams that are going to beat Arkansas, you'd rather Arkansas be an 8-win team.
Yeah,
for your resume. And in the event that you were to stumble against them, my God, you don't need them to be
3-9.
3-9, my God, that would devastate you.
Yeah. So, All right, MPW Digital with more content coming. We'll kick off the day tomorrow with Jeffrey in the morning and then plenty more throughout the day leading into Henry's guys. Rebelgrove.com. Also, Neal's mailbag is up. So we're looking at Henry Parish and looking at Georgia Southern a little more as the week goes on as well, leading up to 6:45, not 6:15, 6:45. Ole Miss and the Eagles from Baldwin Stadium. So appreciate everybody in the stream. Take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.